streaming, so awesome. All right, here we go.
Good evening. Welcome to LoveLogical, DNA Not Required. This is Michelle L. Anderson, coming to you live from Podcast Detroit, Royal Oak Studios. We are looking forward to intriguing and entertaining you every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Let me start today's show by saying thank you for joining our family, which is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA Not Required.
Hello, 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 and welcome. My name's DeLon Kennedy. I have LaQuint Rhodes with me. I'm going to call him Q. Go ahead, say hey, Q.
What's going on? How y'all doing out there?
So tonight we're going to be talking about Q's life. We're going to have a call in from one of your friends, and we're going to be talking about the foster system and, some things possibly that we can change and, how his life went through the foster system and, how it basically molded you into who you became today, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great story.
Yeah. So let's get started. Tell us a little bit about you, man.
Well, again, I'm LaQuint Rhodes. I'm 35 years old, and I have 3 kids, and my wife, Janae Rhodes, of course, of Uncle Rhodes. And, I guess to get straight into this story, I guess, I was taken into the system around, I want to say about 8 or 9, around that age. And, this is flashback memory right here. It's taking it back. But, I was taken in the system about 8 or 9, and from that journey of, I guess, going into homes and acceptance, I think that's one of the things. Acceptance, and with the parents, is their heart unconditional to do what they're signed up to do. So I guess in the midst of going through this journey of homes and trying to fit in with their family that's already there. It's a journey. I guess more so about myself. Or you want me to go straight into the story?
First, how many different homes did you go to?
Well, let's see. I was in one agency called Black Family Development, and then I went from there to another system called Star Commonwealth.
Star Commonwealth?
Yeah, Star Commonwealth as well. And I'd say throughout those agencies, I probably went through maybe 10.
10?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe around 10.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me to see, because I didn't know necessarily this part of your story, and to see where you are today, man. I'm really proud of you and proud for you, man.
I appreciate it.
You got your family, your LoveLogical family. It's blended. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. It is an awesome thing, man. Because the percentage of I guess guys or girls coming out of the system and their outcome, the odds are very rare because they damaged, they hurt a lot, they went through a lot of trauma. So to really find that light and find where they're supposed to be at in life, it's a journey to get there.
Yeah, and does Janae help you through that too, right?
She does. She's very supportive. She was raised with both her parents in her life, so she has that defiance and that right way of coming up, and then so. Yeah, it's very supportive.
Yeah, she's an awesome woman, man.
Yeah,
I commend you on that.
She brings a lot.
Yeah, she's got good positive vibes. I can always appreciate those positive vibes, man.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to have her.
Yeah, so let's just jump into it. What are some of your most positive memories from being in the foster system?
Positive memories. I guess the unconditional families that was in the right place, at the right time, and not giving up. For some of the families, I ended up running into a great family. I'm not sure if they hear me, but they was called the Gabos, was the family, and they was an awesome family. You felt the love, you felt the unconditionalness, you felt acceptance, and it wasn't just about money. Because a lot of parents, they sign up and thinking they can deal with certain kids, but or even if the kid is worse as a better kid, then you get paid more.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like
I didn't know that.
That's so it's like, are you accepting me for the money, or are you really here for me? And that's the biggest question that's in a lot of kids' minds at a younger age, feeling accepted and
Just wanting to be a part of something.
Oh yeah,
like just trying to basically be a part of like a family unit,
right,
that's going to lock it in and teach them the necessary things they need to survive.
Yeah.
And
they have to feel that unconditional love first before they even give in to even accepting this new home and so-called family, because anybody can call each other family, but are you standing behind those standards of family, and really being supportive and there for every single need, not just picking and choosing needs and just, so you can feel that. It's a feeling that you can feel.
Yeah.
So like, no, take me out of here. No, get me out of here. That's not right.
Yeah. It's like those positive vibes.
Oh yeah, just like yeah.
Okay. So what about them made them like such like what made that such a positive experience for you? What kind of things did they do to like promote your health or
Well, I would say they provided for me as number one. They provided for me, which anybody can provide. But not only did they provide, they listened and you felt their vibe. They talked. They took that time out. Their life wasn't so chaotic or just I think they had like 4 kids in the home, and they took individual time to really know who they had in their house. And that makes a difference because, you have more kids, it's more like, they can't, some families, it's challenging when you have more kids, and especially when each kid had their own different personality or their different issues that they came from. So, you have to adjust to each one of them and know how to hit that switch and not, be the same across to each one of them. You gotta understand each one of them. You know what I mean? So,
you gotta. Okay, I can understand that. I can understand that. What about So let's just jump into your story. Like how did it all get started?
Well, yeah, man. So at home when I was staying with my parents, my water was cut off, and our water was off for like 3 years. And it was to the point that we was carrying buckets of water in the summertime. But we carrying buckets of water down, going to the side of people's houses and getting buckets of water to take back to the house. And at the time, I was playing a lot of basketball. Just to vent off, you got to find something to do, just not to think about what's going on at home. And guys at the court like, man, why are you on the side of my mom's house getting water, man? I'm like, I want my water off, and it was like. It was embarrassing, to go through that. But one day, a counselor came to my classroom in school, and they seen, my clothes looked very bummy, high holes in my shoes, and I was very sad a lot. I either missed days or when I was there, I wasn't really in the class, focusing. My grades was failing, and she took me in our office, and she just started asking me questions like, what's going on? Are you okay? Or, what's going on? And I'm just like, tears just started coming out my eyes, because I was speechless. I couldn't say nothing. I didn't want to say nothing because I'm like, these are my parents still at the same time. So it's like, oh man, so when she started going to the points of what she noticed and what was going on, she's like, okay, so you don't want to talk. Okay. All right, okay, well, we're going to let you go, and I'm going to talk to you later. And I think shortly, maybe the next day or two, next thing you know, knock on the door. Here's the worker, or here's the worker that came to the door, and from the state of Michigan, and they came in and walked through the house, and the first thing they went through is straight to the kitchen. And they opened up the refrigerator and seen nothing but water in the refrigerator. And they asked him, my parents, like, is the kids eating, or what's going on? And at the time, my mom, she was at a point in her life where she felt that she take care of my sister, which I have between both my parents is me and my sister, and my mom took care of. My mom told my dad, "Say, I'm gonna take care of your sister. I'm gonna take care of her." She said she was gonna take care of her, and he take care of me.
Yeah.
Which he wasn't a provider. He wasn't working at the time. So, it was like she had food in cabinets up in her room just to feed my sister directly.
Oh,
it was
man.
like, canned goods, food, what have you, snacks, everything, cereal, it was all up in my mom's room. It was kind of like, what's going on. My sister looking all pretty and nice, hair done, and she's very up, managed, hygiene, everything is all up to par. While they looking at me like, so at that point, they gave me one choice. They said, well, you can go stay with a family member, or you can go with us. So, at that time, I thought of my auntie, and she took me in for a little bit. And it didn't work out so long there. Not that she didn't do what she was supposed to be doing, but I was still, in spite of not being at home, so I was a little troubled, and still like to do things at that time my way. And there my journey started. The first agency I went to was a Black Family Development, and I think one of the first homes I was at was a home of like a single parent mother and 3 girls there. So I'm like looking at this family, and I'm like, she, one of my first directions, or one of my first things that coming into this home was just go in this room with the girls and just sit here and watch videos or whatever it was on the TV. And I'm like, wait a minute, like this can't be right. So I'm just gonna stay in this room all day long, like, and just watch
TV.
Shows, just watch TV, like no type of trying to engagement, or, trying to talk to me or want to get to know me, or really, So when I felt that, I'm like, that was immediately just a signal right there. Just even that feeling of that, like, it was very simple, and that's when I'm like, nope, I can't do this. I told the worker that was over me at the time, like, this is not it. I can't fit in here. I don't.
So she didn't engage you. She didn't want anything really to do with you. It was just watch some TV with the girls and you'll be all right.
It was very short and simple. Of course, when you go in, the worker and the parent, the new parent got to talk with the worker, I guess, to get a little update on you or whatever and have you. But when the worker left, it was, it's real short and simple. You want something to eat? Oh, okay, here you go. And go back in the room. It's like, and the girls that was there, it's just like, they just there because they already situated. They're all sisters together. So, just looking at me and kind of like,
who is he coming in?
Like I don't know how many of me haven't been in there. How many times another guy or another girl has changed out since me coming in. So they probably looking at me as here's another one. So you can feel that, and that's one of the first things that you feel as a kid is love and needing love and knowing if. You're already traumatized already from not being in your own home.
Yeah,
so,
not being with your parents.
So, now it's like you need, all antennas should be up at that time for parents, especially accepting new kids in the home. And that's when my journey started initially right there. And then we start going home to home. I may be in there for about a week or so. And it's not, this is not right. And it's from different issues or other issues with their own family that was already going on, and some homes that I went into. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm here for help.
What kind of issues were they having?
You seen parents fighting, or arguing, or I seen a couple of the men in some of the families that they had issues. They had anger issues, or they may yelled at their wife or whatever have you was, or it was, and a lot of the times, a lot of the cases was like, go to this room, or go over here, or kind of like segregate, instead of like a wholeness of like sitting at a table. And then it was times where we sit at a table and I'm probably just there, or just the kids there. You didn't find a lot of the family sitting together and eating like Thanksgiving dinner, and really feeling that. So it's like, some of those scenarios, or hey, here's my homework. Hey, you go up here. The other guy, one of the other boys or girls that help you with your homework. So it wasn't a lot of engagement. And these are things that as coming up and realizing as me being a parent now how important that is now.
Yeah.
Just coming up, and so I try to be very intentional on everything opposite of what I went through. I make sure I'm not gonna go without no bills cut off.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I go without nothing going on. Make sure I'm very responsible, because that is trauma in itself, coming up, and you're looking at your parents. It's not, of course life happens, and you lose jobs and gain jobs, but when you have kids are affected, and they are our future. And for me to be one of the eyes of coming from not only neglect but abuse at the same time. So, even with my mom was, she was a noon hour aide at a school. It's called Malcolm X Academy. And, she was around kids all the time. So when she would come home from being with school, from working, even though I went to that same school and I come back home, she had a lot of aggression in her. She was very frustrated working with kids. She probably didn't have the best patience to deal with a lot of kids. So she would come home, and take anger out on me sometime, or, yell and scream, or, think one way of chastising, but, it's communication and how you talk to kids. It makes a difference as well.
Is.
And those are some of the stories that, some of the things that I went through just coming up. So
what about after, what about the positive one that you ran into, how long did it take you to actually get to
that
positive? How many homes did you go through?
It took a weed and see. So yeah, like I said, I want to say it was probably roughly close to about 10, if not 10, which, from being in one agency and then going to another agency and then going through the whole interview process all over again, and then looking at my case, and then now you got these parents that's looking at these files to say, hey, you want this kid? No, you don't. You want this kid? You're looking at the file.
So they actually got to choose what kid they wanted?
It was more so, because I don't know if the foster parents are trained to deal with, because you have to go through training, period.
Yes.
As a foster parent. And you have to be able to look and know the signs of kids and what they're going through to know how to treat, the different things they're going through. You can't get a kid that went through trauma and treat them like a regular child that's, or that's been abused, and you treat them like a neglected, so you got to have all that training to be able to understand the kid, and most importantly, you really have to have a lot of patience. You have to have that time and patience. And that the last family that I was with, I got to the point where I was doing very good. I was very good. I got up to like 10th grade. I think I got to them when I was in middle school, I believe. So I did probably like 3 years with them. And then I ended up wanting to just venture off. I wanted to be on my own. They had a program called Independent Living, where I guess the state provided you with, you stayed in like an apartment complex with all teenage guys. And as long as you went to school or worked, you had your own room, your own apartment furnished, and you just had to be, it was still supervised, of course. They had cameras and, staff there working, but it was a part of starting independence. And I just, I was ready to just venture off and start
being more on your own.
More on my own and figuring out this thing called life, because I was already restricted a lot of childhood and the things that you should go enjoy as a child, and coming up and with prom and all that. I didn't graduate myself. I got my GED because of moving in and out of homes and not being stable as I should have been.
Yeah.
So,
because did every home you went to, did you go to a different school?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. So I moved a lot from the east to the west. Man, I went to Pershing, I went to Osborne, I went to Kettering, I went to McKenzie, I went to.
Wow.
Man, so it's like when you see those families that you be like, hey, I made it through high school all the way here. I'll be looking at them like, man, wow.
What's that like?
I can imagine how that feels.
Yeah.
And even with this last family, they wanted me to stay there and finish out, but I was at the point where I needed to find myself.
How old were you?
At the time when I left, I was 16.
16, wow.
Yeah, 16. So, I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions, anger. You know, it was a lot. Just trying to figure out myself or where my place should be at, and you know, and my mom, she tried to, you know, she tried to come in and out of my life. It was even when they first took me in, they came back to get my sister, and my sister, you know, she came in for a little bit, and you know, my mom was going through therapy and going through counseling and everything like that, and then she ended up going back home. But I'm like, no, I'm not going back home because I know she's just fronting for the workers,
system.
for the system, you know, just doing the bare minimum just to get them back, and then once you back, you stuck again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I feel that when you go through therapy and counseling, it's not just a temporary thing where you just go through a couple of weeks or 8 weeks or 3 months. Like you still have to do some type of practices to make sure that you stay on that same page. Because if you just do it for that, just to prove something on the outside, but on the inside you need help. You still need to be continuously. It's the same.
Yeah, you got to continue to move forward because, man, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
So do you still talk to your sister and your mom and things like that?
I do still talk. I haven't talked to my sister as of lately because from our wedding. There was a lot of issues that went with that.
Yeah.
And my mom I don't really talk to her a lot. I talk to her, you know, here and there. I just check up on her here and there. But yeah, it's my relationship with my mom has never been like 100% like a mom and son relationship, you know. So
yeah,
a lot of times I end up growing other moms and getting that relationship from, you know, from other women that's around, that's involved with me, and absorbing their love and their care and the different aspects that I didn't get from other women that's in my life. So
What about that last family that you were with? Are you still in contact with them?
No, actually, no. I haven't contacted them in years. I was probably I haven't had no contact with them in years. Last I've heard that the father had passed away, and he was a sheriff, you know, and he passed away some time back, you know. But it's a journey, man. It's not easy for anyone to. It's not just it's just something you can't just snap out and just hit a switch and just come out of. You know, it takes a lot of support. You know, even from the agency that I was with, it was a lot of strong, positive men there that helped mold me to be who I was. You know, to name a couple of few. I don't know if I can say names on here, but
yeah, you can say a couple names.
You know, like it was a strong, positive role model. I even called him. He was like a father figure to me as well, but his name was George Blakely. He was one of them. There was another one called Mr. Naylor. He was a great inspiration as well. He passed away a couple of years back.
What made them great role models to you?
Because they treated me like I was a human being. They treated me like, they didn't just treat me like I was a problem, or they didn't just treat me because you here and you got issues, you know, so, you know, accordingly, but they stood behind a strong structure of, you know, that missing link of what you need, that you're supposed to get from a man that's coming up of you know, learning about life and real talks. You know, they didn't just have scripts, or they didn't just have, like, you know, they did their job, but they was still their self. They, you know, they had families as well, so they still treated you as you was one. Like it got to the point where, you know, I even went to their homes and met their family and their wives and spent the night, and, you know, it was, you know, just Raz, you know, just they didn't just do it as a job. You can tell it was more than a job to them. And a lot of the ones that stayed there longer than, you know, 10 years, you could tell those the ones that they really care about what they're doing, because your heart have to be into it. Or helping any kid or anybody that went through any issues, your heart has to be there, and you have to want to do it, not just for the paycheck. And it's weird because getting and going through all of that, and then getting older as an adult, I ended up starting to wanted to work with kids. So I took my last 5-6 years. It has been working with kids.
That's amazing. So, yeah. You know, like teaching them the things that you had missing yourself, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I was always different, because you could see the other workers that worked, they didn't work the same as me. You know, I was the type that understood a little bit different than what they understood. They may not had any experience, or they may have experience in working, but didn't go through the system. So I was like a double threat to be like, why, why is he listening? He's really taking the time to listen and understand versus just go in his room and close his door, or take this medicine, or do, so.
Yeah.
And it's bad because a lot of times when kids have issues, the first thing we do is what? Medicine.
Yeah.
Hey, we're just giving these drugs. They'll be all right. And don't get me wrong. Some kids, they may need it, some, but I think it's hard because they end up getting, they hooked on it, and they think they need it for the rest of their life, So it's like they give up fast and just automatically script them out. No, that's not always the remedy, man.
Remedy. That's not how you should do it at all,
not,
man. I don't agree with that at all.
I did, yeah.
Like I can understand that kids sometimes have problems, but sometimes they just need somebody literally to talk to.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like they just need somebody that they can open up to, and that one positive role model that they've never had, or that person that just, for some reason they have a connection with, and they just need to just get it off their chest.
Yeah.
Like, man, I've had a few friends that, like some sisters, like my LoveLogical sisters.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, that's who my mom was to them, She always was there for Tasha and, Shanita and all them. And it's like, even me with like LaShawn when he was younger, and just everything that we went through, it's like we all went through it together. It was a battle. And it was like they taught me, and, like I learned to be me through the stories that I heard from some of them, and just like, man, like, I can't believe you're, because I was older, than a couple of them. And it's like, I can't believe that you're going through this at such a young age, like, man, this happened in your own house. Like, so you can't even feel safe in your own house.
Yeah.
So I can understand 100% just, finding that one person that, sometimes you just got to pour your heart out,
And sometimes you got to be that special person because everybody don't click to everybody, and they're not going to share their story with everybody. Yeah. You have to be that, either they got to feel that love from you or that unconditionalness from you, or it may be you, it may be me, but you're going to feel that connection, and you're going to know when it's right. And it's just something about feeling people's vibes and being around people that you can, is that as working with kids and then being a kid, feeling all of that. That's why it's very important to know who you're dealing with, or even take the time to get to know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, because people, like, man, I've seen some stuff, like, I know you've seen some stuff too, man. And it's like even like growing up playing basketball with my friends and everything else, my best friend across the street, his parents adopted him from Korea. So like, you having the aspect of knowing your parents and who they are, like, he didn't know his parents at all. So he always had like this anger for some reason, and it was just like watching him as he grew, but he digressed instead of, he's like moving forward now, but it's like sometimes it can take a hold of you. It's like an anger that you have in your soul.
Like a beast.
Like exactly, like a beast. Like a beast,
Man, it's to take over your soul, man. And especially when the hurt is so heavy that you can't even see the light, or it's just a dark path that you see. It's like a dark cloud going everywhere you go, So to finally see light is like everything, and that's at that point when that one person didn't give up on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when that one person that give up on it, it's like, oh my God, because they can do everything they can do, from yelling at you, screaming at you, attacking you, and you still don't give up on this person?
Yeah.
They like, man, where did you come from, man? Like, oh man, you took it all. And I know you mean that was the test right there. So, and it wasn't just me going and through these homes, because I had a couple of other brothers. The caller that's gonna call in a little bit. His name is right there. He was one of my brothers as well. And there's a couple of other ones that I went through the system with. But this one is going to call in. We was very close. I met him initially. Actually, I skipped the part because when they first took me, they took me to a shelter first. And I went to a shelter first. I had to stay there for a little time because that's when I guess the agencies had to go through the shelter to recruit the kids out. So even just going through that shelter stage is just being in there with all boys, that was the first step of just like when reality kicked in, you know, and this is where I met him at. This is gonna call in Rothel, and like I said, he can't. His story is deep too, you know, but it's very, very important to listen and to have patience and to understand everybody's story, because they react for a reason, or they do certain things for a reason where they came from. So, you know, if you don't take the time to know that person, you know, just don't try to automatically diagnose a person. Just say, oh, is this? Oh, is this that? You know, it's like, no, it's not just this and not just that. It's a whole list of things, a whole journey, you know, behind this person.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people try to piece out, you know, and try to just put a name on this person and say what this is. But yeah,
What made you and Raphael so close?
Man, we bonded. It's funny because the story of when I first met him, it's funny because when I met him in the shelter, I had just started finding out what gear was, like name brand clothes was.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what that was. So when I first started getting a couple of pieces of clothes, you know, when I ended up being in the shelter, the first thing I asked him, I didn't even know him. Like, first thing I said, man, what kind of shirt is that on your shirt, man? Is this Polo, man? Is this Nike, man? Like, he was like, what? Like, what, you know, what do you mean? Is this like, because he wasn't really into it either, but that would kind of like start the whole thing, because we still laugh at it to this day, because, you know, that kind of like initiated like just a bonding point between me and him, because, you know, he didn't know about clothes, I didn't know about clothes, and I'm trying to check him on his clothes, and I'm not really that, you know what I mean? So, you know, so now when you check him out, man, he just stay poloed out and geared out, you know, and I stay geared, but and even with that though, because when you come from not having stuff, you know, you want to dress nice all the time, and you need that as
you always dress nice.
I'll be trying, man. I try, man, but you know, again, you know, I think self-esteem go a long way in itself, and there's a lot of kids that have self-esteem issues, you know, and not just internally, but on the outside as well. And sometimes they try to cover that up, you know. So you know, it's a lot of different ways that you have to dig in deep, you know what I mean, to reach out to individuals.
Because even though you might portray that you're the most confident one out of the
bunch.
bunch.
Oh man, they could be just like, man, why do you have all this makeup on? Why do you have all of this on? Take it all off. Take it all off.
Yeah.
Oh wow, this is underneath all of that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, man, when you just get all the way naked and be able to even like talking about this or sharing stories, man, when you're able to accept who you are and accept what you went through and accept the presence, the present moment of where you at now and moving forward and say, this is what I got to do with my life. You know, that's when you know you didn't make some progress, you know.
Yeah, that's, man. You know, that's what life is all about, is moving forward, you know, and, you know, like just being able to, you know, look back and say, like, man, I never would have thought I made it here.
Like, man, that was the edge right there, man. I would almost fell over the edge, man.
You know? Like, I've even been to that edge a few times myself, man. You know, like, I had a amazing mom, you know, loving, you know, caring, always, you know, supported me in whatever I wanted to do, you know, but then at the same time, I didn't really have a good relationship with my dad, you know, growing up, and it's like in and out. So it's, I understand a little bit, but at the same time, I could never understand because it was just different, you know, and like just me and mom, like helping other people, you know, mom always said that, you know, even before she made LoveLogical, you know, she was all about being in a LoveLogical relationship, like basically like helping mentees, you know, being a mentor, you know, helping underprivileged kids, you know, even growing up, we were in a group called Ambucks.
Okay.
And with Ambucks, you know, we always, it was for the children who couldn't walk. Like, I believe one of them, she had no legs. She was paralyzed from the waist down.
Wow.
And she had never rode a bike. So we sat here and we gathered all this funding and we did all these fundraisers and we bought her this like awesome bike where you pedaled it and controlled it with your hands.
Wow.
And just seeing like a little girl on a bike for the first time, you know, that right there literally like touched my soul, man, you know. So it's like hearing your story is a similar story, you know, and it's like just knowing you personally, you know, because his wife does my hair, you know. She keeps me crispy. You know.
Keep me together, yeah, man.
Like, yeah, man. It's like just knowing that about you, it literally touches my heart,
deep,
man. You know, because it's like you never know. You don't really know somebody until you like actually sit down and, you know, talk to them 100%, you know.
You never know who path you cross, and that's why I always treat everybody accordingly. I never just, you know, you never know that one person that you're talking to that could be like, wow, you've been through what I've been through, or wow, you know, you can help me in this, or you understand this, you know. And I think that stands a lot behind what me and my wife have started with, even with our story, what we went through, but. That's why we came with love over everything, you know, with our shirts that we have, you know, because it's not just about, oh, yeah, you know, anybody can sell some shirts. You know, anybody can just start something and say, I'm going to do this, but it's a story behind it, as even from our wedding, but even love over everything, one for me, you know, and love one, meeting my wife, you know, and love one in life. So, you know, man.
All right, so we got our caller. Hello, sir.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Can't complain. If I
All
do,
right.
still ain't gonna do no good.
Right there. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Good.
So,
No,
Raphael.
I can't let you. I can't let you get all this shine without me being on this. No, come on now. Let me get me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Raphael, man, like, you know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, what's up, man? My name is Raphael Kelsey. Originally from Detroit, born and raised, West Side, 8 Mile, the original 313. I met LaQuint back in 1997 at Wolverine Human Services.
Yep.
We were in a shelter together. And to collaborate with what he said, the first thing this guy said to me, now mind you, we're 13 years old, and I don't know this guy from Adam. He walks up to me and said, hey. I said, what's up? He said, oh, what type of shirt is that? I said, what? So this guy grabs my tag, looks at my shirt, and starts laughing. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy's a character.
Somebody else would have swung on me, man.
You know, I know it's called, man. I tell all the stories. I don't know if you have a gag order on me or not. So I don't want Rhodes Uncut trying to sue me.
No, man. No, you good, man. We uncut, man. Tell it how it is, you know.
Yeah.
But finish. Tell them your story, man. Even how you even got to Wolverine Shelter, man. Like, how did you get there? What?
I don't mind telling the story. Well, you know, unlike LaQuint, I was born into the system. My biological parents just left me. I think they just didn't want a kid anymore.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, man, they just left me. I didn't find out this story till I was 14, when I was in another group home, when I actually had a chance to read a report that was written on me back in 1986, you know, so which I'd have been 2 years old at the time. You know, it said that mother left child with a friend, never came back, you know. So basically, I was in and out of group home. I mean, I was in and out of foster care from the age of 1, 2. Then I got adopted at the age of 3. I got adopted by this lady named Beatrice Kelsey. She adopted me, and of course, you know, when she adopted me, she was 60. So of course, as I got older, she got older.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was going into I was going into middle school, and that's when, you know, clothes mattered and all that other materialistic things mattered, and so I wanted those materialistic things, and she told me that's not what it's about. It's about the education. You know, at 13, you're not the one getting teased. I'm getting teased every day. Mm-hmm. So I rebelled. I rebelled against her, rebelled what she said. So basically, I just went out and tried to do my own thing, and she saw it. So what she did was she put me in that shelter. And I remember when I got to that shelter, I cried and cried and cried. And I was begging her to let me come back. And she said, I'm doing this to save your life. And I didn't understand that being 13 years old. I didn't understand what she meant. She's saying, I'm saving your life right now. What I'm doing is going to make you a better man in the near future. I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about everybody that has come into my life has left me. They have abandoned me. I'm used to being just thrown away or whatnot. So I remember we went to court, and I remember she relinquished her parental rights. So I'm really thinking she really didn't want nothing to do with me. And I remember she said something to me, and I get choked up when I think about this. She said, "Rothel, I failed you as a parent." And I'm thinking to myself, how could you fail me as a parent when I'm the one that did not listen? I'm the one that did not follow directives. But now that I have teenagers, I understand, because when my teenagers do some of the dumb stuff I did, I'm like, where did I go wrong? But it's just karma coming back on me. So I understand what she meant when she said she failed me as a parent. Yeah. So I made a point up in my mind that day that I'm going to be great. And so what ended up happening was LaQuint and I met in Wolverine Human Services. Then I got put into this foster lady's home called Eleanor Kemp. So I don't know. I'm not going to blast on the radio. All I can say is that she wasn't the greatest. I don't want her trying to come sue me. She wasn't the greatest foster, parent. So she's not here to defend herself. So I'm just going to say that she really wasn't a great foster mother. She was all about the money. Okay. So all she cared about was the money. She didn't care about the kids. She didn't care about her personal well-being. She cared about that young check that she was getting every week or every month. And it was just a horrible situation to be in. And then, because of course, LaQuint ended up coming there. So him and I had a great bond once we got there, because we knew each other from Wolverine. Yeah. So I think we stayed there for around about a year. That he got put into another foster home, the Harrisons. I was really sad when he left. I never told LaQuint this, but I cried when he left, man. So he got put into that foster home. I'm thinking like, ooh, man, they really finna give him the business. So he ended up going to the Harrisons. But you know what? It's all by God's design. So he ended up going to the foster home he was talking about, his last foster home, which was the Gabos. Okay. He ended up going there. So somehow, by the grace of God, I ended up getting there too. So we were reunited.
This kept happening, man.
Yeah, so him and I were reunited once again. Now, mind you, we're older. So, he's 15, I'm 14, we're in high school. We were reunited. And so him and I were together again for about a year. And I had a temper problem growing up, so I was always ready to fight. And the Gabos had these kids that used to like to wear my clothes. And I'm a very stickler about my stuff. So this little boy ended up wearing my Air Force Ones that I ended up saving up my money to get. So I ended up choking him. Oh, wow. So I didn't kill him or nothing. I ended up just, putting hands on him. So I ended up getting put into Star Commonwealth residential program all the way down in Albion. And I was taken there by this social worker by the name of Eric Reed. He's not here to defend himself, so I'm not really going to throw him under the bus. But he shouldn't have been a social worker. He shouldn't have been nothing. This is something, and I want to tell Eric Reed something right now if he's listening. If it wasn't for you, Eric Reed, I wouldn't be the successful man I am today, because you told me something when I was 14 years old, and I never forgot this. This he would have to have been maybe in his early 30s. He told me that I was the worst kid he ever seen. I'm going to end up in a penitentiary, that he wished that I was older so he could whoop my butt. Wow. He told me that. Those are his exact words. This is what I told him. This blocked me off. I'm not going to be a kid forever. So come see me in a couple of years. I'm not going to be a kid forever. He said, this is what he said to me. Yeah, I ain't got to worry about seeing you going to be in somebody's BICCH. Yeah. So this is somebody who's entrusted to take care of kids. Yeah. That's crazy. Their care, Yeah, saying that type of crap to me, so that was just crazy that this man said that to me. So I ended up staying in Star. So I think I was 15 at the time. So when I left the residential, I ended up going to another residential. I want you to follow the timeline, brother. Okay. Follow this timeline. So mind you, I'm 15. I stayed there. Then I go to another one in Ann Arbor. Stay there for about a year. Which I'm 16. And I go to another one. When I stay there, now I'm 17 years old now. So mind you, this is I wouldn't say my childhood, but this is what you want to call my teenage years. Yeah. So these are my teenage years, brother. So at that time, I think when I was making my transition, LaQuint was in the Supervised Independent Living Program, the SIL program, because him and I kind of lost contact. because I was getting, I was getting bounced around Michigan so much. So I end up, it's all about the way God works. Now, mind you, when I was at this group home, when I was 16, I was at the group home called Boysville. And just so happened, I'm walking down the stairs, and guess who I see? Haven't seen this guy in maybe 3 or 4 years. It was LaQuint. He was there working on his GED. Now, mind you, I'm in the residential program. He's getting his GED, and he's actually in the supervisor independent living program. So him and I exchanged numbers and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So I end up leaving that program at 17. I end up going to, it's like I'm following this guy. So I end up going to the supervisor independent living program.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Okay. So at that time, LaQuint has already transitioned out of that program to his own apartment.
Okay.
But this guy, right. So when he found out that I was there, he came by and checked on me. He came by and allowed me to come to his house. He was like our guardian, like his older brother Oscar. They actually like took me in and molded me to be the man that I am today. So I remember LaQuint at that time, he had his GED. So, I was still in high school, still wondering what I'm going to do. Because mind you, I'm 17 years old and I still have no sense of direction. You would think that a person like me would have been institutionalized. But in all actuality, I was never institutionalized. I was just fed the hell up. I was fed up with the system. I was fed up with how they were doing things. I was fed up how they were treating our kids. They wonder why we snapping out. And it's like LaQuint said, they want to give us medicine. We're not crazy at all. We just need that type of attention and that love that we never got. So we're going to get it by any means necessary. Okay? So anyway, I remember LaQuint and Oscar took me under their wing or whatnot, right? And LaQuint has always been like that brother to me. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know how to drive. He taught me how to drive. He taught me a lot of. I'm telling you, this guy is a great person.
Yeah.
Overall,
Appreciate
wonderful person.
Appreciate it.
And this guy, I'm very proud of this man, of the man he's become. And I've always wanted to make this guy proud. And I'm glad that I was able to finish college, became a police officer,
Okay.
And I'm a father, I'm a father, a great father, so it's funny how it's not about the cards that you dealt, it's how you play the hand. And there's no excuses. No excuses. That's one thing that I admire about LaQuint. We don't make excuses, we make results.
Yeah.
That we can sit back there and say, poor Rothel, poor LaQuint. Oh, well, whatever. Life happens. It's how you deal with it. And so that's why I just wanted to really chime in and give my story and my testimony on how this guy is really heaven sent, how this guy really molded me to be the man that I am today, because you don't find too many genuine people in the world.
Yeah.
You really don't, brother. You really don't find too many genuine people that actually care.
That's the truth.
People are fake nowadays, brother. They are fake. They are fake. They are fake. And that's why I keep my circle real small. And I'm glad to say him and I were just talking about, like, wow, we're 35 years old now. We're grown. Like, we look back on our lives and say, could you ever imagine when we were 13 years old, we'd be where we are today?
That's amazing.
Never in my wildest dreams would I ever imagine that I'm pursuing something that people said I couldn't do, that I would never be able to do. Because, like LaQuint said, one of our favorite songs is "The Sky's the Limit." It's nothing you can't accomplish when you keep God in your life. You stay focused on the task at hand. No excuses. Just make it happen, brother. So, LaQuint, man, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of
you too, man.
woman that has come into your life that has molded you to make you even better. I love you. And like I said, I could have really went into more detail, but, we ain't indulge stuff like that.
Right.
Of all the crazy things we done done.
Right. Appreciate you too, man. You awesome too, man. I'm glad to still be able to talk to one of brothers that we both know where each other came from. There's nothing you can tell. To just look at somebody and be like, hey, you made it too, man. And not look at us both, man. So we love to talk to anybody, any family that say, hey, we got a story too, man. You ain't out here by yourself, man. That's why I'm glad you got us on the show, man. Both of us, So
Yeah. That's a great story, especially like him just following you and. Like you motivated him to be the better man that he is today. Like that's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah,
everybody needs brothers. I was in the military, And that's it. Yeah, sometimes it takes a brother just to get you through and get you over that hurdle that you can't get past.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's a beautiful thing, Q. That's a beautiful thing.
It is, man. I mean, but again, it still took structure, man, and it took us trial and error from each other, learning from each other, and from the men that was around us, man. You know, it was still some great staff there at Star Commonwealth and independent.
Staff. Great staff.
Yeah,
you know,
it was.
Like Dr. Don Stewart. You know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for her love and support. George Blakely.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Mr. Taylor, Jonte Duck.
Yeah.
All the staff
Naylor.
members actually cared. Not the ones that are there to collect the check.
And this agency is not there anymore on 7
It ain't no money to touch with. Them cats were making like $8 back in the day. You know, so I can't imagine the stuff we put them through, making $8 an hour. You know, shit. I'm sorry. There's no way that you have to have a passion to do this.
You do. Yeah, you got to be in it, man. So I'm just glad there was even the agency available to even just, you know, they got these type of services out here. But it's just very, very important to know, don't just hire a body. A lot of times companies is hiring bodies just to have a body as, you know, hey, we're going to drop this kid in a minute because they're acting out. You know, it's not about how they acting. It's about how you respond to how they acting, how you listen to how they acting, what they saying, you know, what's the root of what's coming from. It's always the root. It's not about the present action, but it's about the root where it came from, how the build up, why is he blowing off, why is he, you know, what is you saying? Don't just egg it on, don't just, you deserve that and keep them going, you know, just because you're older and you're the staff, you know, it makes a difference as being a staff worker and talking to any staff workers that may be listening to this now that's working in the field or working with kids. Make sure you take the time to listen to them and have patience. If you don't have patience, this job is not for you because that's what they need. They need patience, they need love, they need communication and understanding. If you can't provide those, then that's not a field for you. And that's why coming from the last job I was at, for a couple of years, you know, I've been in the field for about 6 years, but you know that's why my heart ended up going into wanting to help other kids.
Yeah, most definitely. I see, and he became a police officer.
Man.
That situation that he was in, he can take people and mold them and change it out.
Yeah, man, making an effect in life, man, affecting people. So
positive influence, man. That's all this. You got to have the positive influences in your life, man. You know, whether it be just a friend or even your fellow officer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I had a police officer that took care of me when I was younger. Officer Fred Hardy, and I'll never forget him. Best influence in my life. Like, never forget him. You know, and he actually died in the field here in Detroit.
Wow.
Got hit while he was on the side of the road.
Wow.
You know, and that's so I commend you for being an officer of the law, sir, and I really appreciate what you do. You stay safe, man.
Yeah.
Oh yes, sir. Oh yeah.
All right. So we got a few minutes left. We're gonna go ahead and let you go, man. Thank you for calling in. I very much appreciate you calling in to LoveLogical. Maybe we can have you guys again sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great, man.
No problem.
Yeah.
All right. I need to when I come to Detroit, I need to get on that show.
All right, bro, man.
Yes, sir.
Talk to you later, man. Love you, man.
I love you too, bro.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah, man. With that, man, that's a deep story, man.
Yeah, he went all the way into it.
Yeah, he changed his life, man. He changed his life.
Yeah. I think we changed each other's lives, though, because I was always a passive-aggressive person, you know, and some, like, people always ask me, like, how do you have patience for aggressive people? You know, because I have still family members around me now that's still very aggressive or high-tempered or whatever. But how do you deal with them? Like, no, it's not just me just cut them off. Like, no, it's you still be around them, but, you know, there's ways to deal with them. But in the long run, they're going to appreciate that, and they're going to realize more and more as you, because if everybody else just give up on you and just walk away from you because of how they're acting out, then it's like, you know, you end up being that black sheep, or you end up being that person that, you know, you just had this attitude and it's going to continue. But that as time continue to go, you end up reflecting and start coming back to being that person that's been there and still dealing with all your ways you going through.
Yeah.
And he be like, man, look, I remember 5 years ago, man, you was now you know how to listen to me now you care, now you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't give up on all people, you know, and you shouldn't give up at all, period. But you just got to go about certain ways of dealing with people, and especially people that has dealt with trauma coming up, you know. So, and he was one that had a lot of anger and a lot of hurt, man, and he loved to fight. You know, he was a fighter. But me and him, I don't even think we even had a fight. I think we probably tussled a little bit, but you know, we used to work out and do this thing. But it's like he never understood how come I was the one, why we never had a fight, because I always listened to him and I always understood, you know, where he was coming from. I didn't understand his whole story until actually we got a little older, and I'm like, oh wow, like, man, you was adopted, like, man, you know, and you know that's even more deep.
Yeah,
like, he never even met either one of his parents. You know, he don't even know his whole other side of the family that's out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
but to be adopted, and then like she literally told him
then
she was saving his life, man.
Yeah.
That to me, that's man.
And she was a single parent by herself, you know, with no man there. You know, so these households that's trying to take in kids, it's not easy. They need both parents, man. Women, you know, our men, all women that do a great job to play both roles, and even for the man that play both roles, you know, it's not easy, man. You know, because you got to be delicate and you got to be hard. You know what I mean? You got to know when to hit the switch.
That give and that take, man. And it's like a lot of us, we don't know about that give and that take.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We don't, like, it's hard to go through all that, you know. Let me start getting ready for the closing.
Yeah, man.
So like I know that we're getting ready to actually put out some LoveLogical shirts.
Okay.
We're gonna have Indianapolis coming out soon, like the Indianapolis LoveLogical, and I believe she said Philly.
Okay.
So Indianapolis and Philly, that's pretty cool because I rock the
dope,
Phillies,
man.
man.
That's dope.
I like some Philly.
I'm going worldwide, man.
You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man.
Trying to save the nation, you know, change the nation's opinion, you know, because LoveLogical is biological by nature, LoveLogical by choice, DNA not required. But it's a deeper meaning than that, because it's the stories that you hear that are untold, you know, it's those untold stories, you know, and it's finding out the truth
that need to be told,
that needs to be out in the world so everybody can know, like, because, you know, like going from home to home, you know, like sometimes people shouldn't have to go through those things, and there should be a better system in place to help build up our foster kids. You know, like you have to build them up. We actually did an event. It was hair fittings for the boys, though. And we were down at the boys' home, and man, like just seeing how excited some of those kids, they went from being like bugging, like what's good, you know, to like, man, look at our friend, boy, you know, self-esteem, you know, just giving them that little bit of confidence, feeding them. Like you could tell, because some of them were just like stuffing their pockets full of food, and it's like, man, you could take what you want, man. You want a little to-go bag? I got you,
man. Because some of them homes would be like, hey, you got your 3 meals, that's it, ain't nothing else extra. You know, they got so it's man. But I want to shout out to my wife too, Janae. Love you, babe. Uncut Rhodes. You can check us out, follow us, look at the great things we got going on as well. Love over everything. And we got a lot of things in store coming your way. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. I am LaQuint again.
Right. I'm Delon. This has been LoveLogical. DNA not required. You can look us up on Facebook at LoveLogical. You can check out our website at www.lovelogical.com. You know, if you have any submissions that you want to send in to us, we're always here to listen. If you want to go ahead and let us know, like, what's going on in your life, you know, maybe you have a foster child that could use a good haircut. You know, we are doing hair fittings again. I'm not sure the dates right now, but we will be doing more hair fittings for the city of Detroit. Just make sure you call into us, let us know, and we will always reach out and try to help the community as much as we can. You know, other than that, thank you, LaQuint.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Thanks to our producer for coming in and, you know, getting our caller to come in. How do you say his name again?
Rathel.
Rathel. Thank you, Rathel, for calling in, and thank you for your service as a police officer. We very much appreciate your service. Stay safe out there in those streets because, you know, people just don't understand that the struggle is real sometimes, even for the officers of the law.
Yeah.
So thanks for everything, and I'm out. See you guys later.
Take care, y'all. Stay positive.